Hello, am I audible enough?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the free A-Level Guidance Program series organized by Mission Cordoba of the Muslim Majlis of the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. As scheduled, today we will be having the Bioscience Stream Guidance Program for all the students who have just completed their O-Level examinations this year. Before moving on into the main session, a kind reminder to all the participants who have joined with us today. The first is to keep your mics muted to avoid any inconveniences. At the end of the session, you can clear your doubts by either unmuting yourself or by simply dropping a message via the chat box. Also, please refrain from drawing on the screen while screen sharing is going on. And now, a warm welcome to your resource person for today, Lizama Azhar, who is currently following a degree in the Faculty of Medical Sciences at the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura to continue the program. Ms. Lizama, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjita. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are, but if you could be a little bit louder, that would be better, I think.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the A-Level Guidance Program for Bioscience Stream. And this session is mainly focused on students who have just completed their O-Levels. So before going into the session, let me introduce myself. I'm Lizama Azhar, a second year medical student in the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. Okay, so before actually starting on or guiding you all on how to select the stream and what are the sections that you should focus on, let's just focus on how you can spend this short vacation, which is going to be a 3 to 4 months time period, meaningfully. Okay, so now you can consider this as a break in order to recharge yourself again, because definitely A-Level is going to be a 2.5 years journey, and it is going to be quite stressful and exhausting. So just consider this as a major break before you actually start working yourself in your A-levels. Okay, so what usually students do is, especially students who select science stream, they just overwhelm themselves right after O-level itself. You guys start overwhelming yourself by starting to collect notes and then meeting your seniors and then just meeting up with every single person and asking them advice on what to do and what not to do. Okay, so you no need to just rush into A-levels just like that. Relax and have some fun. This is just the beginning, right? So I know that you guys would have done the O-levels also within this huge pandemic, and there was a big economic crisis while you were writing your O-levels also. So that itself would have been breaking. So you can just chill out, spend some time with your friends and family, and you can go on trips and gatherings. And just what I'm trying to say is just don't be very hard on yourself from the beginning itself, okay? And then still, if you have some time left and you have been planning on learning a skill or two, but you couldn't because of your O-level time period, then you can just give it a try in this short time period. It is not a must that you have to do, because even after A-levels, you'll have a small time period for that. But if you want to learn something like any IT courses or something, you can give it a go, because at least at the end of the vacation, this 3 to 4 months time period, you'll be happy that that you have completed or you have got to know a new skill or two, right? Okay, and the very important thing that you have to do within this time period is you have to start attending your tuition classes. Okay, usually right after your O-level exams itself, especially for the bioscience and physical science stream, they will start your tuition classes, the private classes, they will start off. Okay, so what you can do is, since this is a carefree time period, right? Like you don't have to attend school or anything else, because only they will intake you guys after your O-level results are out. So this is the best time period where you can focus on selecting the best tuition class for you, because private classes play a major important role when it comes to bioscience stream. What you have to remember is, always remember, like when you're selecting a class, somebody has unmuted your mic. Can you please mute yourself? Okay, thank you. Always remember, when selecting a particular class, you should know this, that your capability and your studying technique and the way you grasp things is different from your colleague and the senior that you have already sought advice from. So what you can do is, you can just attend a class or two. You can just have a list of the best tuition classes for each subject, and then you can attend those classes. Either 2 or 3 classes is enough for you to check out whether that particular class will fit in, or whether the pace is high, low, or whether the pace is maintaining is fast, or maybe sometimes the way they teach you, that won't be the particular method that you're used to. Okay, so use this time wisely to select the tuition classes that you're going to follow. And once you have selected, even though this is in this 3 to 4 months period, it will be a little bit till your results are out, it will be a carefree time period, but still make sure that you maintain your sessions regularly. Be a regular student. Okay, that should be a trait that you have to develop in the A-level life period from the beginning itself. Be a very disciplined and consistent student. That determines, rather than just studying and working hard, attitude also plays a major role when it comes to your A-level life. Okay. Okay, now when it comes to stream selection, what you have to remember is, selecting your stream is equal to selecting your future pathway. Okay, so an A-level stream, maybe not everyone wants to end up in a university. You might have different dreams of pursuing your higher education in private institutes or going in different pathways. So you might have an idea to pursue a career right away after your A-levels. But nevertheless, all those things are attached to your selecting your stream, because this is the thing. This stream selection is putting your foundation. It is acting as a foundation for your future pathways. So be very careful when you select, because always remember, the stream that you have selected for your A-levels, it will determine many things in your life in future. Okay. So basically, if you consider in Sri Lanka, there are 7 streams. The bioscience stream is there is physical science, and then there is commerce, arts, and even in tech field, we have e-tech and biotech, and there is also a newly introduced stream for the students who couldn't pass their O-level exams. So whatever stream that you are going to select, it will come under 2 major categories. Okay. That is, one is eligibility and the other one is based on your results. So when it comes to eligibility, you have to have a passion to whatever subject that you are going to choose to. You have to have an undying passion. I'm not necessarily saying that, like, for example, let me choose bioscience. So under bioscience, you have biology, chemistry, and physics, right? I'm not saying that you have to like have a genuine interest and love all 3 subjects equally. No, I'm not saying something like that, because it is a little bit impossible, okay, to love all 3 subjects equally. But what you have to have is, you have to have that genuine interest in science. Okay, it doesn't mean that you can love biology and you can hate physics. So you might dislike chemistry, but you will like physics, something like that. But nevertheless, you should have that small interest that you have developed for science from your O-level days itself. Okay. And then when we consider, the next important thing is dedication. No matter what pathway that you're going to go into, you have to have that that working hard, competitive spirit. That kind of spirit you should have. Once you have entered into A-levels, you can't be that carefree person that you were in your O-levels, because usually O-levels, not everyone work hard, and works according to a plan. No, you don't do it just like that. I'm just talking about the average crowd. Most of them, they just go with the flow. But once you have entered into A levels, you can't have that kind of mindset. Okay, you have to have that. Maybe you're a little bit weak student, maybe you're a slow learner, but anyways, you should have that. That spirit of, okay, I will give my best no matter what. Okay, you should have that that mindset of actually optimizing your efforts rather than being based on your results on because efforts is the one which is under our control is effort. So you should be the one to give the best possible effort that you can give. Okay. Okay, now let's come to capability. Now, if you consider capability, let's say that you have an undying passion and then you are willing to put all your efforts into the stream that you're going to select to, but you're not sure whether you are capable enough to handle those subjects. For example, let's say now your O-level results is out and you really want to do science and you're willing to work too. But if your O-level results is for both science and maths is around both are S passes, then I'd say that you better not select science stream, because no matter what, there is a particular kind of amount of work that you should be able to put when it comes to each stream. Okay, you should be able to grasp the knowledge that the subjects are that is within those subjects. So if you don't think that you are capable enough to handle, even though you have the undying passion and dedication, if you don't think that you will be able to work on those, then it's better if you don't go into that stream. I'm just talking about the normal average population. I'm not talking about the exceptional cases. Yeah, there might be some cases where they will have simple passes and then they will just skyrocket in their A-level exams. Yeah, there might be, but I'm just talking about the average normal population. Okay. Okay. Now let's come into results. So when it comes to results, does the overall O-level results matter? No, definitely it's a big no, because there is this particular norm where only 8As, 9A students should belong to science stream, something like that. But it's just a stupid myth. You can consider it as a stupid myth because there is nothing like that. Let's say you got only 3As or 4As, but still you manage to get A's or B's in your science and maths. If you manage to get like that, then you don't need to worry. You can definitely continue your stream within the bioscience stream itself. You don't need to have second thoughts on, okay, I'm not that capable, just like the other person or the student who got 9As, 8As. You don't need to worry like that, because the overall results will not matter when it comes to stream selection. Only what matters is the results that you have got in the subjects that you are choosing or you are willing to do in your A levels also. Okay, so and also another major mistake most of them do is they change their stream based on the O-level results. Okay, don't do that. Please don't do that stupid mistake, because you shouldn't be a person who is just switching on and off the stream just based on your O-level results. For example, let's say that you didn't want to do science, there was no any willingness or anything involved, but you just so you chose either arts stream or commerce stream. But once the O-level results are out, let's assume like you got an A or B in both science and maths, and then definitely your friends, your family, they will just pressurize, right? They will be like, why can't you do science? You can go for it. You really have that thing within uni, so you can go for it. Yeah, but so based on their opinions, don't change, because once you have stick to a stream, once you have selected a stream, no matter what your O-level results are, just stick to it. Because when you keep on changing directions like that, you will be confused within yourself itself. So right before selecting a stream, just have a large amount of self-awareness on how much you want to do this. like whether your O-level results will change the decision that you have taken, or whether or are you taking this decision based on the peer pressure? Sometimes because most of them select a particular stream because their friends are selecting, right? So that is also there. And also sometimes it might be due to your family pressure, or sometimes you might do it because it's respectful. Like there is this whole myth also, right? Like doing a particular stream, even if you didn't get a proper good results at the end, it's okay if you have focused on a better stream. Like for example, let's say you have chosen bioscience only for the sake of doing it. You have just chosen because you'd be away from all the talkings, even if you can get a marginal level of results. Just don't go for a stream like that. Okay, just be genuine with yourself and do it for yourself. And also, but usually, let's say this is for the students who will be the toppers in the O-level results. Usually, let's say if you got a 9A or 8A, usually what will happen is those students tend to underestimate A-level. I'm not saying that's the case everywhere, but I'm simply saying they tend to underestimate A-levels because let's assume that you are a student who did the last minute study and then you got really good results. Okay, anyways, remember this, O-level is kind of a last minute thing, because even if you worked really hard in the last 3 to 4 months, then you can really crack up, like you can just pass with flying colors. Okay, so just because you were a last minute learner in O-levels, don't you ever think that you can manage or crack up the whole A-level results too, if you continue to be a student like that. Don't go into A-levels with that kind of mindset. Because usually, like, I'm not saying that there are 9A students, there are 8A, 9A students who really got through their first attempt 3 years and we got into medical college also. But at the same time, there are students who got 9As, 8As, but didn't even get a university admission, like for any of the courses. So always remember there are these two types of people when it comes to A-levels. So don't underestimate your A-level exams, just like you did your O-levels, okay? And also remember to always humble yourself. Whenever the results are out, no matter what results you got, always have that growth kind of mindset. That is really, really important when it comes to A-levels and kind of any phase in your life, because when you have that growth kind of mindset, let's assume that you are going for a class, and when you sit and when you're listening to the tutor, if you have that kind of mindset, a growth mindset, you will be open, your brain will be open to the new ideas or the teachings, because you're sitting there thinking, okay, I'm going to learn something new today. I am going to learn something which I didn't know. But if you're a person who is a little bit arrogant and have that, okay, I know all these things kind of mindset, that is what we call a limited mindset. And with a limited mindset, you won't be able to grasp the whole idea what the tutor is trying to say. The focus will not be laser focused. Okay, you will be easily distracted and that kind of thing. So always remember to humble yourself. Entering A-levels, that's very important. As I told you before, so attitude is very important. Humble yourself, not only during your A-level life, but throughout, because by humbling yourself, you'll definitely reach greater heights. Okay, now let's specifically focus on bioscience stream. So the popular subjects are biology, physics, and chemistry, but you all also should know that rather than going to physics, you can select agriculture too. And instead of chemistry, you all can do ICT also. So your course, the availability of the course will depend on the subjects that you have selected. For example, let's say that you have chosen ICT. Then what will happen is you can select any courses available for IT during your university admission. Okay, because even in other stream like commerce, art stream, there are courses available for IT, right? So you'll be able to apply for those courses if you have selected ICT as one of your subjects. And also agriculture, like agriculture, for any agriculture related courses that you are going to apply in your university entrance, then definitely you should have in order to apply to that, you should have selected agriculture as one of your subject. But there are also several courses that demand these three: biology, physics, chemistry, these three subjects, in order for you to fulfill the requirement. Okay, for example, you can't do medicine or you can't go for dental by doing biology, agriculture, and chemistry, something like that. No, you have to do that, the main three subjects: the biology, physics, chemistry. Okay. So yeah, now if we consider the course availability, there are total number of courses is 62 or more when it comes to bioscience stream, and the most popular are the medicine, dental, and veterinary. And also there is Unani, Ayurveda, and Siddha, in which it will also come under medicine, but it will differ according to the cultural basis. Okay, and then if we consider there is this other general degrees where you can do those general degrees, and by pursuing higher education, doing PhDs, doing so many researches, you can end up as a researcher. Even like within Sri Lanka, there are so many people who are doing this: microbiologists, physicists, all those kinds of things. You can follow that kind of course by doing a general degree and then pursuing higher education. And then there is also paramedical courses like MLS. MLS is usually the lab technologist. And then we have pharmacy, radiography, physiotherapy, and nursing. Anyways, these courses is very closely related to medical field. And then the other popular courses that we have is biological science and applied sciences. By doing these courses, either you can end up as a teacher or a university lecturer, or even you can end up working in an education department. That's also possible if you go in this pathway. And definitely, if you are interested in any agriculture related courses, you have to select agriculture as one of your subjects. There are around 5 to 6 courses which are related to agriculture. So in order for you to focus on that, you have to definitely select agriculture as one of your subject in your stream. Okay, then we have nutritionists and dietitians. So there are around 3 to 4 courses available with food science and nutrition, food science and technology, just like that. And nutritionists and dietitians, they are these courses, they also have very high scopes nowadays with the coaching available, and the ability to do things online has really raised the bar high for these courses, because even nowadays the medical field is also closely related to these courses, because usually nowadays, rather than directly giving medicine, the doctors tend to equally manage the lifestyle by switching their diet style. Okay, the nutrition and diet intake. By doing that, they are trying to manage things. So, and also other than that, there are some other courses like where you can apply for, which is not under the bioscience stream. For example, law. If you have followed any three subjects under bioscience stream, and you have got a really high Z score, you can definitely apply for law. Okay, you can apply for law and some other courses like that, which belong to other streams, but sometimes they might require a higher Z score. Okay, so remember that also. Okay, now let's come into the medical faculty, the medicine. This is the most competitive course with no doubt, because one of the reasons science has become so competitive is also because of medicine, because the amount of students, the intake is very, very little compared to the amount who sit for A levels in the bioscience stream. Around only 1,600 to 1,800 students, something around that particular area, that particular count only they will consider for the medical colleges, because the resources are very limited in Sri Lanka. So if we consider the basis on how they select, it is based on Z score and district quota. So what is basically Z score? Now Z score is basically they take an average of the subjects that you did, all 3 subjects that you have done, an average of that, and then they will also have a bar marginal line. They will also have a score. Okay, they will compare your average with that particular score, and based on that only you will get your Z score. Okay, and Z score is important because based only on Z score, they will have a marginal Z score for each course, and if you have a higher Z score than that, then definitely you can apply for that. So with no doubt, medicine has the highest Z score when it comes to bioscience stream. Okay, and also district quota comes into play mainly if there is in the urban and rural areas, because in some areas, like for example, let's say in a rural area, a student might get medicine with a normal Z score, whereas a student who is studying in an urbanized kind of area might not get, okay, with the same Z score or a higher Z score than them, he or she might not get. And that is based on the district quota, and this they are planning according to the popularity of that particular stream and also on the infrastructure availability. Okay, the district quota is based on that. So yeah, make sure that you guys know about that too. And also don't be discouraged. Like let's say that you wanted to do medicine, you really wanted to do medicine and you have an undying passion to do it, but you couldn't get through in the first attempt itself. It's okay, because there are so many students within the medical college itself, like majority of them are second shy or third shy students. Okay, I'm not saying that there are very less students in the first attempt. No, it's not something like that. Let's say when it comes to your efforts, the efforts that you are trying to put, just always try to give your maximum possible effort in the first try itself, because getting through university is much easier when it comes to first try, because when it comes to second try and third try, you have to work on your own, you'll be a little bit alone and all those things will be there. So try your very best in the first try itself. But let's say that you couldn't give your best during your first try, then definitely go for a second try or third try, and then keep on trying till you have that confidence where you can say, no, I have given my ultimate best and there is nothing left in me to give more. But let's assume that you're a student who is saying that, no, in the first attempt itself, I have given my whole efforts. I have just worked so hard. I don't think that I'd be able to give anymore. If you're a student like that, then I prefer you go with whatever you're getting in your first attempt itself, because it's useless if you just do second attempt and third attempt if you're feeling that you have given your ultimate best. Okay, because that's there no matter what course you are selecting. Okay, that medicine is not the only course that everyone, I'm not saying something like that medicine is the course that everyone are trying to enter. No, there are so many students who really love paramedical courses and bioscience and all those things. But whatever course you are trying to get into, always make sure that you can say at the end of the day that I have given my everything into this. Okay, because in a 5 to 10 years time period, you shouldn't be the one to look back and then regret saying in vain I should have done a little bit more so that I would have landed on a better place or something like that. Okay, so make sure that you give your ultimate best, whatever course that you are planning to do on in future. Okay, so this I got it from the UGC book. They will release it usually after your A-level results are out. When you have through this, you can just check in how they have divided. It is separated for each courses, and even in each course, they have separated for each university, and then it is differing for each area, district also. Okay, so the course, the marginal Z score differs according to each university, the course, university, and the region. Okay, there isn't like if you want to, you can go through this. If you have seniors or sisters or brothers who have entered into universities, but it's not that much needed. Just to give you guys an idea, I have included this part. Okay, next major thing is school selection and tuition classes. So what you have to know is, in this school selection, your district for university entrance is based on the school you choose for A-levels. So for example, let's assume that you're a student whose hometown is in Kandy district, but you have enrolled for a school in Colombo district. So definitely they will consider your A-level district as during the exams, your A-level district will be considered as Colombo. Okay, because if not, it will be unfair on other students, because this whole scenario happened, I think, a few years back, and they were punished also, like the students were punished also for like just trying to switch in things. So make sure that you know this. And then the next major problem students ask is, or the most commonly asked question is boarding necessary? I personally say that it is mainly based on your comfort. Okay, your comfort and your priorities. Now, for example, let's say if you're a person who needs to travel daily for 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours, let's say at least 2 hours. Let's say that your school and your hometown is in within a 1 hour distance, then definitely you'll have to spend 2 hours for transport, right? So that if the condition is like that, then it's better if you can board, because definitely it's going to be exhausting, tiring. A level itself alone, without any other stuff, the academic itself is a little bit tiring and exhausting. So if you have that burden of transportation for 2 hours, that will add more pressure. Okay, and it will definitely show on your academic performance. But other than that, if you're a person who don't have any of these transportation issues and all, then definitely you can just stay at home and study, because most of the students, they follow that particular way. Majority are just daily learners, like they are not boarded. So it won't be an issue, because even when it comes to boarding, there is so many things that you have to consider. You have to consider the environment, the food, and also with there will be homesickness and all those things. So it's based on you, on your priority, on how the transportation will be for you. So just go with what suits you better. And also you have to remember that usually 80% attendance will be expected for you to sit on the final exam. This is the usual method in schools. So what you can do is, for the first 2 years, let's say, just make sure that you don't miss out school too much. And when it comes to the last 6 months, anyways, everyone will get really busy, and there will be so many classes, paper classes, theory classes, and everything. So definitely your attendance will go down when it comes to the last 6 months. But always manage to have a particular schedule for both. Like, don't be a person who never attends school but is only focused on tuition classes. No, that won't happen. That won't really help out, because only in school that you learn that competitive spirit. For example, let's say especially don't miss out any term test exams. Okay, term tests, you shouldn't miss any of those, because I don't think any tuition classes will conduct exams in a way where they are strict as our term test exams. The term tests are like, they conduct it in a very strict manner, and they evaluate, and you get to know what areas you're stronger in and what areas you're weaker in, based on that, right? Like based on your marks, on your term test marks only. So I'll always recommend not to miss out any term test. Whether you're prepared or not, just go sit and write the exams, because only then you'll have that, because you should be experienced also, right? Your final exam shouldn't be the first exam that you're sitting. Okay, as a real exam, it shouldn't be your final exam. You should have experience definitely. So basically, you'll get around 5 terms within your 2.5 year time period. So definitely it will be better, and I recommend it for you guys not to miss out any term tests. Yeah, and as I told earlier itself, select the best tuition classes and work from the beginning. Be a very regular student, but at the same time, don't overwhelm yourself by attending too many classes. Just don't be that particular person who goes to classes for each, like let's assume for each subject, if you are going to 2 to 3 classes, there are students like that. For each subject, if you're at least going for 2 classes, then the amount of time you have you are left alone to study is very less, right? Because self-study is very important when it comes to A levels. You can't be the person who just follows 2 to 3 classes. Don't ever think that just by increasing the number of classes that you are attending to, you can increase your A-level results. No, it's the other way around. Even though I'll recommend it's better, it's recommended by many that if you can go only one tuition class per subject. But sometimes let's assume that your you feel like you're really bad at physics or chemistry, then it's okay if you can go for 2 classes only for that particular subject. Because what usually happens is when you go to tuition classes, the tutor, they will teach something, right? And what will happen, you will feed into all those information. Your brain will just absorb all those information. But what's more important is storing information is no big deal. What is more important is you should be able to recall the information. Recall the information and then just apply those things into the questions they have been asking. Okay, so that is what is more important rather than just trying to store information and going to many classes. If there is one particular class that you have understand the concept very clearly, then there is no need for you to repeatedly go to different classes to learn the same concept. No, what you have to practice is you have to practice recalling. Okay, because recalling is also a process. You just can't, you should practice for it also. Okay, you should be able to grasp the important things that you have stored, and you should be able to apply it on the questions. Okay, and always remember, self-study is the key. What I usually always say students is that you should at least have 2 to 3 hours of self-study daily. As I told before also, attitude is very important when it comes to A level. You should have that disciplined, consistent mind. You should have that kind of mindset, because you can't be a person who studies 7 to 8 hours, let's say, for a day or two, and for the rest of the days you don't study at all. That kind of mindset is not going to work, or is not going to reap you results when it comes to A levels. So have a continuous flow. Always have a at least 2 to 3 hours, excluding the school time and your tuition class time, if you want to really succeed. Okay, now let's just focus on the study, some few study tips and tricks. As I told you before itself, don't miss out any theory sessions. That's very important, because before starting to practice on questions, you should be very solid, and your grip on the theory sections, the concept should be very, very clear. Okay, you can't have any loopholes when it comes to the theory sessions. I'm saying this because you guys are fresh, right? You haven't started anything yet. If it's a session for a A-level student who have completed their first year, then my whole demeanor will be different on how to tackle these things. But since you guys are fresh, I want you guys to know that just always remember, no matter which class you are attending to, or sometimes it might be in school also, the lessons that the teachers teach in school also, no matter where you learn it from, and try to have a very good foundation, a solid foundation when it comes to theory sections. Okay, you can't have many loopholes or gaps, because that way your brain will never store the information. Okay, for your brain to store things, then you shouldn't have any uncertainties. Okay, you should be very sure on what you're studying. So then if you have any loopholes, or let's say you have any gaps in your theory section, what you have to do is then and there you have to clear the doubts. Okay, don't pile up your doubts. Try to clear them then and there. You can seek the assistance of your friends. Sometimes there will be some friends who can explain really well. Okay, either you can seek help from them, or you can directly ask guidance from your teachers. And the next important thing is, make it a habit to study the sessions daily. As I told you before also, it's a very important thing. The consistent mind is very important when it comes to A-level. Study the sessions daily. Like, before going to the next classes, make sure that you have revised the concept of the previous lessons. Because let's assume something like this, I'm not necessarily asking you guys to just go through the whole thing that the tutor has taught you. What you can do is, once you have completed it can be in school or it can be in class. Once you have completed a particular section, right after, you can have right after coming from class or school, you can have an app, and then without just opening the book and checking out or reading the whole thing again, what you can do is you can recall. You can try to recall. It'll only take a half an hour, even if it's for a 3 or 4 hour session. It will only take a half an hour for you to recall. Recalling in the sense, you have without just checking the note, you have to think, okay, so what are the things that we studied today? Okay, so this is the section that this is in this unit, this is the section that we focused on today, and these are the like, so if for example, let's say in biology, you have studied about photosynthesis, and when it comes to photosynthesis, let's say like from the very beginning itself, like you have studied about the chloroplast, it's an organelle, and what are the features under that, and there are the reactions that will take place under photosynthesis, and all those things. Without checking the note itself, you have to try to recall, and you have to repeat, you have to just say it out loud. Okay, and then what you can do is, right after doing that, you can just check your books, and you can correct yourself. Okay, so this is the points that I have missed out. So this is where I went wrong, and it will be a really good method. You won't be bored also, because rereading the same thing again and again, it's quite boring, right? And nobody wants to study like that. So it will be this method, the method of recalling like this, will be really, really helpful if you can follow it for a longer time period. Even not only during those sessions, even if you have completed a whole, let's say you have completed a whole unit, and what you have to do is, you have to simply, you should be able to recall. Okay, so these are the sections that I studied today. Within 15 minutes, you should be able to recall. So that shows how pretty confident that you are in that particular subject, okay, in that particular unit or in that particular section. Okay, and the next important thing is, be your own teacher when studying. This everyone teaches, no matter what course that you are taking in, you should be able to teach yourself while studying, because that is one of the best method to study. One thing is, when teaching like that, you will have so many doubts, right? Like for example, let's assume that someone comes and asks you a particular question, and when teaching that particular section, there will be so many doubts arise, right? Like, why is this happening like this? Why is it not occurring in that way? What's the connection between these two? And all those questions. And while you're answering, your brain, it thinks, right? It thinks a lot. Like, it just forms connection between the sections that you already know. And that way, when you teach someone, it's very least likely probable for you to forget that particular section. Okay, so sometimes you won't have any friends or colleagues to teach you. It's okay, you can just teach your own self. Rather than just reading things, you can just put a diagram, and you can mention, okay, these are the things that we are going to focus on today, and you can just teach to your own self. That will be a pretty really good way to study, if you can just follow it throughout. And practicing past paper questions, this is an advice, I don't know, maybe you'll hear it for 1,000 times or more during this 2.5-year period, because every single person that you meet, let it be your school teachers, or let it be your colleagues, or your seniors, or your tuition class, their tutors, everywhere, they will just keep on preaching this, to practice your past paper questions, because no matter what there are is, important stuff will remain important. Okay, so why most of them ask you to do practice the past paper question is because no matter how much the syllabus has changed, there are some sections which are really important. Okay, so from those sections, there will be a set of questions, no matter which year it is. So if you, when you do past paper questions continuously, repeatedly, when you keep on doing it, then you will get a flow. The next, even if it's a new question that they are going to ask in a particular section, you'd be able to answer it very easily, because you have repeated it. And also start doing it unit wise. So you have these books, like they have separated it for unit wise, and if not, like even in the tuition classes, they might offer, like whenever they have completed a particular unit, they will give a booklet which has all the questions in it. So it will consist both past paper and model paper questions. So you can go in that flow also. Okay, so what is Pomodoro technique? So the main problem that students face is lack of focus when it comes to studying. So what you can do easily is, you can take a break for every 25 minutes. This is for self-study, when you're self-studying. Okay, try to take a break for every 25 minutes, because when you continuously study for 1 hour or 2 hours, what happens is your performance will go low. Just like this, your performance will go low. But let's say that you have taken a break of 5 minutes. 5 minutes is, then don't do anything related to studies within that break, and please also don't just check out your phone also within that 5 minutes break, because definitely that 5 minutes will extend into a 1 hour or 2 hours. Okay, so that's also, checking your phone is also not a good decision. what you can do is you can either draw, or you can doodle, or you can just sit still. Okay, if not, you can just get up and have a glass of water or something else like that. But just take a small break for every 25 minutes. A 5 minutes break will be enough. Okay, just a 5-minute break. Okay, and just study like that for around 2 to 3 hours. It will be really help. Like you will identify the difference between those two sections. Like when you study without taking a break, and when you follow this Pomodoro technique, definitely there will be a big change that you will be able to see. Okay, now we have started. We just saw the general tips and tricks. Now let's focus on how each subject should be tackled, because each subject, when it comes to bioscience, is you have to approach it different. Okay, the approach should be different because each subject is different. Like for example, if you consider biology is mainly based on theory. Okay, there are some stuff in biology that you have to learn to understand. You have to understand, and there are concepts bit by bit you can learn like that. And but there are also sections where it's completely purely based on facts. So in those sections, what you have to do is you have to simply memorize. So if you are really good at memorizing, then it will those techniques will become really handy when it comes to biology. Okay, and also in the easiest way to study biology is to draw through drawings, like by using some visual techniques. For example, let's assume that you didn't understand, so there is this nerve thing that you will study in biology. So in the nerve section, there is something called synapse. I don't know whether you have studied in all levels. So in that particular section, let's assume that you didn't understand that. What you can do is you can just search for videos. There are so many animated videos when it comes to biology, and when you just go through those videos, the probability of you forgetting those concepts even after watching those videos is very, very less, because your brain tends to remember things more when it's more visual, right? So rather than just always rereading and going in the hard route, try some techniques like this also when it comes to biology. Okay, and one of the most important thing is you have to start practicing essay type of questions from the beginning itself. That's very important, because MCQs won't be very hard to tackle when it comes to biology, but essay type of questions you have to start writing from the beginning. Right after you have completed a particular section, you can search for questions on it based on that in past paper or either model paper. If you don't find anything that type of questions, then you can create your own question and write down your own answer. Okay, but always remember this: you have to start writing essay type of questions from the beginning itself. Okay, now when it comes to chemistry is a subject most of you guys will fall in love to, because it's so interesting. Like chemistry in a way is very interesting, and because it contains equal parts of theory and practical sections, so it won't be boring. It's not mainly based on theory, and it's not purely based on calculations also. If it's purely based on calculations, also it will be a little bit hard to tackle, and if it's purely based on theory, it will be a little bit boring, right? So here, since there is equal parts of theory and practical sections, like it's very easy for you to keep your focus on. Okay, so and one of the best way to study chemistry is you have to go through the past paper questions. Okay, before studying a section, just go through the past papers, and then you have to find out how important the particular section that you are going to learn is. Because, for example, if you consider inorganic and organic chemistry, those are lessons that you will study under chemistry. So when it comes to that, under inorganic and organic chemistry, there will be around 15 to 20 MCQs in past paper, MCQs alone, and then there are essay type, structure type questions also. So for a person to miss out those two sections is a big loss. Do you understand? So always when it comes to chemistry, approach in a way you're going in par with what they have asked, the most important stuff they have asked in past paper questions. Okay, yeah. And then when it comes to physics is a subject which is completely based on logic. Okay, it is completely, most of the stuff that you learn in physics, you can relate it to your daily basis. And I don't understand why, but it is assumed as one of the hardest subject in this whole out of the all 3 subjects. Maybe because it contains so many calculations, there are only a few equations that you have to remember, because even the equations that you learn, you can derive them. You can derive them from the theory or the law that you have learned. So it's mainly based on calculation also. And also, but remember this, try to learn physics in a way where you can relate it to your daily basis. Like, for example, let's assume that you're studying about friction or something. You have already studied that friction during O-level period itself. That friction, without friction, you can't walk, run, no, climb, right? So example, if you can't walk properly on a slippery floor, because it's very smooth. When it's too smooth, what happens? There is no friction there, right? And when it's rough, the amount of friction is high. So that's the reason that you can walk properly. So this is just a normal example on how you have to connect things. When you connect things like that, it will be really easy for you to tackle physics. And always the questions will be based on each scenarios. Okay, so try to visualize them. Visualize them means just draw. Once they have given a particular question, try to draw and bring the whole question into your drawing. So it will be very easier for you to tackle the question afterwards. And when it comes to biology and chemistry, I won't recommend you guys to do many model paper questions and all. Going purely with past paper will be enough when it comes to biology and chemistry. But physics, it will be better if you can do both model paper and past papers also. And also try to use review books to find shortcuts to solve MCQs, because don't you ever think that you can do the 50 MCQs at the final exam. With all 50 MCQs, you can calculate each answer, and then you will have enough time. No, that won't help. Like you won't be able to complete the whole paper within the given time if you are going that way. So always remember to use some analysis book. Like there is this book where Professor Rosa writes, and it's really helpful because he has analyzed each question and he has used shortcut methods to identify the answer rather than always calculating and going through that particular method. He has reviewed the books in such a way, reviewed the questions in such a way, it becomes very much easier for us to tackle down the MCQs. Okay, so let's focus on the common challenges which are faced. So one of the main important thing is lack of motivation. Lack of motivation in the sense, like, it's a 2.5 years time period, right? So definitely there will be times where you're really annoyed, suffocated, and you're pressurized and you're really drained out. But always know this, during those times you're not alone in this, because most of the students who do bioscience or any other stream for that case will have that particular feeling. Okay, but during those times, always remember your destination, on the goal where you're aiming to, and the reason why you started. That will make you keep on going the journey. Okay, and then the next important thing is constant distractions, and I assume that most of the distraction here will be because of the phone and the social media apps that we use, especially nowadays. If you are in many social media accounts, my recommendation is it will be better if you can deactivate from all those accounts, because this is not a time where you can really spend a huge amount of time, like waste a huge amount of time just scrolling through apps and just going through social media, just posting stuff and all. This is definitely not the time where you have to do all those things. So it will be better if you can just reduce your screen time. And next important thing is inefficient time management. This time management inefficiency, it will actually affect your results also, because you should be a person, let's assume, like, okay, I'm not asking you to schedule daily and go with a plan like where you have a timetable and all sort of things. No, even if you find it difficult, what you can do is you can just have 2 or 3 sections. You can just mark down, okay, I'm going to finish these 2 or 3 sections within today, and you can go by that also. That is also a very easy method, because just planning out every single thing that you're going to do in that particular day, it might not be applicable for everyone, right? So you can go with this routine if you find it really difficult the other way. And under negative studying environment, I wanted to discuss about the friends and the impact they will have. Definitely, when it comes to A-level results, friends will affect in both, either in a positive or a negative way. Okay, so for example, let's assume that you have a set of friends who don't share the same goal or same mindset like you. If there are friends who think that, okay, I just have to pass through, or I'm just doing A levels for the sake of doing it, what will happen is their ideas and their thoughts will rub off on you. Okay, and that might really affect your results too. So always try to surround with friends who think, either who aim better than you or who has the same mindset like you. Okay, and the other important thing is, when you're selecting a place to study, always select a place where it is a very peaceful, uh, calm kind of environment. Okay, it will be really hard to focus if it's a noisy environment. It will be really hard to focus, because already there is a lot of academic covering that you have to do, and despite that, if it's too noisy and all, it will be really hard for you to focus, and you'll get easily distracted. Okay, so just remember that also. And don't be discouraged by lower grades, because during this 2.5 year time period, first term or second term, sometimes your grades will be lower. Like, let's assume like you got 40 or 50, something like that. You'd be really discouraged, I understand that, but just don't give up so early. Like, that's just the beginning, so you have 2.5 years time period, and you can catch up slowly. It's okay if your pace is a little bit slow initially. You can just pick up it as you near the end. Okay, yeah. And the important thing is, A level is a marathon, not a sprint. That's what I was telling from the beginning itself. Just don't overwhelm yourself now itself, because if it's a sprint, if it's a 100-meter race, you have to mainly focus on the speed. But A level is a marathon. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are taking up the pace very slowly at the beginning, and only at the 6 months or the 4 months time period, at the end, you have to increase your speed. Okay, so being consistent is more important. That is very important. Being consistent, and those tiny discipline steps only will just form the big picture at the end. So always remember, you just overwhelming yourself and trying to do everything together from the beginning itself will definitely drain you halfway. So just try to focus on how to take things one at a time, and then complete each task. Like, go on a daily basis. Just don't focus on big things like, okay, 1 month in, 6 months in, I have to be in this way. No, just take everything slowly on a daily basis. Okay. Yeah, and A level is not all about studies. Maybe some people will have conflicting ideas when it comes to this, but yeah, remember this: A level is not all about studies, right? Because you might be thinking that, okay, let me finish my A levels, then maybe in university I can have fun, I can have all sort of fun I want to, but that's not like that. Okay, always remember that the next version that you're going to enter in your life will demand a better version. Demanding a better version means increased amount of responsibilities. You should be more disciplined, you should be more productive, and all sort of things. So what I recommend is, try to manage from a very young age itself. Try to manage everything. Like, if you are, let's assume that you are really good at sports, you just no need to give up sports completely for the sake of your A levels. You can, when there is a sport meet also, you can just join in, and don't worry that it will reduce your marks in a big level. No. And if you're really good at any other competitions like writing, drawing, or something else, then you can take part in them too, and try to develop your personality, because your attitude really matters. Just studying alone will not get you to a very high position in life. So try to develop your personality and maintain good friendships in between too, because always remember, you have to have 2 or 3 friends that you can really rely on when things get rough, right? So remember that also. These are the main major things that I wanted to discuss about during this session. Now, if you have any questions, I can answer them. Or if you have any doubts, I can clarify them. Okay, can I say now? Yeah, as I told you earlier, this is the thing. Okay, now someone is asking about the Colombo district Z-score variation, the disadvantages based on the Colombo Z-score, right? For the Colombo district. So what will happen actually is, I can't say it's disadvantage. Yeah, definitely the competitiveness is very high when it comes to Colombo district. But at the same time, you also have to remember that there are so many opportunities available also, right? Like when it comes to a district like Colombo, there are so many classes for all three mediums. There are so many classes and all available. Even the schools are really good. Like they really work hard and they are just on par, just like the tuition class itself. Z-score anyways, yeah, for the Colombo district students, it will be a little bit higher compared to the other district students. Okay. I hope that I clarified your doubt. For Colombo students, no, it's not something like that. I can't necessarily say it is disadvantage. Yeah, maybe in other districts this thing is less, but you have to also remember the amount of classes available in other districts is less compared to Colombo, because since Colombo there is a very high competition, the availability of resources is also very high compared to other districts. Can we do biology online? Okay, it depends on you. Like I know that most of you guys would have now online learning is the norm for you guys, right? But it depends on you guys. Biology online biology is mainly based on theory. So sometimes for some it will be a little bit it will be hard to keep on track with the lessons. It will be too sleepy, or like you will lose focus in between, because it's mainly based on theory of physics and chemistry. Sometimes the online learning thing for the whole throughout the 2.5 years period sometimes might work. But biology, it's based on you. Like if you can really tackle off online learning, then it's okay. But I recommend if you guys can follow a physical class, like in-person learning, it will really be helpful. Yeah, O-level results is you can, because as I told you, the the limit that they have set in schools also is credit pass only for science and max. In a school, but they expect the marginal results that they expect for both max and science is credit passes. So yeah, if you have a seat for science, then you can go for it. No, is it not a good decision skipping science ALs and doing? No, definitely a big no. Okay, I was just suggesting it will be good if you can learn a skill or two, but that doesn't mean that you have to skip your A-level classes. No, a definite big no, because if you have selected your tuition classes from the beginning itself, be a regular student. Okay, I was preaching that because you have to be consistent. That is a trait that you have to develop. Okay, I think, is it a bad idea not to join a school? Yeah, so this is the thing, okay? So you can be a private candidate, but there are so many things that you will learn from, like as I mentioned earlier, the competitive spirit, the term test system, all those things will be there if you are a private student, right? And you will also, being a private student for 2.5 years time period, sometimes you will feel a lot lonelier. Like if you're a person who has completed, let's say, you have to do it for the whole 2.5 year time period, right? So in a school now you have friends and you can just interact with them, and you will have that kind of environment, and you'll always be reminded by your teachers and your colleagues that you have to study, you have to be focused. But when it comes to being a private candidate, what happens is that whole environment is not there, right? You're just alone and you have to focus. So sometimes for some students it will be really hard to focus that way. What I recommend is, it's better if you can choose the school and go. But if you really feel that no, I can manage being a private student, then it's up to you. You can go without it. Can we do bio in second Shai and commerce? Okay, I don't understand why you're trying to do this. Can we do bio in second Shai and commerce in first Shai? No. I don't understand why you're trying to do this way, because as I told you earlier, be very specific in how we are going to select your stream. Either, okay, maybe sometimes you might do commerce. Let's assume that you did commerce and you didn't feel that, okay, your interest lies in here. Okay, then yeah, definitely you can change your stream. That's okay. If you feel like, okay, there is no any interest that I have within this particular field or stream, if you are feeling it only after 1 year, then it's okay. Just you can skip and then you can switch off your stream. But as I told you earlier itself, it's better if you can really weigh all the things and check out whether going for science stream is what really matters. Like, you have to take that decision. You have to be yourself, you have to be genuine with yourself, and you have to select that stream properly, because as I told you earlier, it really will affect your future pathways also. But let's assume that you have taken a wrong decision and you have stepped into bioscience, or you have stepped into any other stream, and then only after a year or so you felt that you have taken you have done a big mistake by choosing this particular stream, then definitely, yeah, you no need to be afraid. You can switch off, you can switch the stream. That's okay. Yeah, both max and science, if you have credit pass, that's the marginal level that they keep. It's better if you have more results, like A's or B's, but it's okay. The marginal results that they expect is a credit pass for both bio, science and max. You have to have a credit pass. Okay. Yeah, but always remember to work hard. Okay, no matter what your results is, if you are willing to work really hard, then yeah, you can just pass through flying colors. Okay, so I think that's all. I have answered all the questions. Is there anything more that I have to answer, or shall we end this session? Okay, seems like that's the end of questions. So thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys, wait, there is another. Is it true that if you do bio, you can't have fun, no parties? Okay, so this is the thing. It's mainly based on how you manage your time. As I told you, maybe you will miss out parties. You can't expect to just join every party that you have and then manage, like, take good results too. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have fun at all. You can have a good time with your friends, and you can spend a good time with your family, and at the same time you can manage your well results also. But for that to be there, you have to quit wasting your time. You can't unnecessarily waste a large amount of time in your phone and then do all those unnecessary stuff, and then you can't expect to get a good results. Okay, you always have to have a pretty good time management, and for you to function well, what you have to focus is only on the good things. Okay, only on the good things. When it comes to friends, it's okay if you have spent some time with friends and family, but other than that, I recommend you to like extracurricular activities also. For the first 2 years it's okay, first 2 years, and for the last 6 months I recommend you not to. But other than that, yes, it depends solely on you, on how you manage everything. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. I'll end the session with this. Hope you guys found it very useful.